Thank you, Garth, and hello, everyone. Glad to see you here. Today, I'll be looking at Stars Without Number, the revised edition. And what it is a OSR RPG that deals in the far-flung future of humanity, where humanity's rise and fall has happened, and now humanity's trying to claw back to some semblance of the greatness of what they were before. And if this is interesting to you, well, then stick around because I'll be doing several more segments on this. This is the introduction. I'll be doing the system and gameplay, and then I'll be giving a character generation. And if you want to see that, you're going to have to follow or subscribe to be able to be notified when that content comes out. But for now, we are going to the particulars of this game. It originally came out in 2010 and got its revised edition in 2017. Now, what I'm doing is the free version. The free version of the game you can get from DriveThruRPG, as you can see down there. Right down there, free edition.
Very nice, very nice.
And it's the same backstory. It's the same rules. There's a couple of classes that you can't be. There's a transhuman factor that they don't explain in the free edition. They don't even touch on. But as long as you're cool with not having that, you can play the game for free. But if you want the transhumanity, and I think they even have magic in there, which is weird. I wouldn't play with magic in this game. Then you spend $20 and get the PDF. Now, I looked a lot of places for the hardcover because $60 for me is a lot for one book. Now, it is the only book you need to play the game. So compared to other systems, you need to buy 2 or 3 books.
Yeah, it's actually a bargain.
It's actually a deal. All right. But I'm an old man. I like my core books to be $25, $30. All right. I do. That's the way it is.
Dunk's just to wait for Garth and the Ambush Heathen like screaming subscribe through your subscribe. No, that's not happening.
Get off his lawn. That's right. Get off my lawn, people. Get off my lawn. Now, let's get into the introduction. All right. Now, the backstory of the game starts in 2108. 2108 is a red letter year because that's when humanity discovers faster than light travel. All right. The guy who discovered it, Dr. Tiberius Crone. Now, I want you to think Doc Brown because that's exactly how the rest of the scientific community thought of Dr. T. He was a kook. He would every couple of years jump onto the world stage and say like, you know, I can turn lava to butter or whatever, and then can't do it and then disappear again. You know, he was a laughingstock. But he spent the last 10 years in the radiation no-go zone in Greenland with stolen fabricators and networked computers. And they didn't, as an aside, they didn't explain why Greenland is irradiated. Yeah, I mean, I want to know that story, right? I mean, obviously it happened before 2108, so they had to start somewhere.
Well, it's part of the eugenics wars, I guess.
I don't know, man. I want to know that. So whatever. Anyway, he spent years perfecting the spike drive.
Ooh.
Now, what the spike drive does is it pushes your vessel into a meta-dimensional space. It pushes you into another dimension where physics work differently, where the absolute speed limit of the universe does not apply.
That makes sense.
So you can go many times faster than the speed of light in this meta plane, and then use the drive again. It will push you back down into normal space. All right. And how did he signal that he made his discovery? Well, he put a bunch of rockets on his factory, installed a spike drive in it, lifted off of Greenland, went into space, and boop, disappeared. He came back 13 days later in orbit of the Earth, just appeared, and he transmitted data from Alpha Centauri that could only have been collected by being there. He then downloaded the schematics for the spike drive with detailed instructions on how to make it, and then disappeared again. This time, never to be seen again.
Good move.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go out,
yeah,
you know, that's a lot better than just exit stage left.
Yeah, it's kind of giving a big middle finger to everyone.
Exactly. So yeah, he's considered the godfather of humanity because he made FTL possible. Now, by the time 2200 came along, humanity had spread to every habitable planet within 1 spike year. Now, a spike year is if you travel a year in metadimensional space and come out into back in normal space, that's how far that would be,
So
which
it's
is
multiple
super
light
far.
years.
Yes, super far. Now, he went 6 days to Alpha Centauri, 1 day of studying it, and then 6 days back. So it took 6 days to go 4.3 light years. Think a year.
Yeah, it's like 300 light years.
Yeah, it's a long way. So in all directions. So that's a radius. All right. And it's been like you get like a couple dozen planets that you had to mildly terraform or were fine from the start. So humans moved out there. Now this necessitated Earth to start the Terran Mandate. All right. Hey, Earth is the central government. Okay, no more expansion without permission, because every time you expand to a new planet, you require a sustained influx of resources from all the other planets, and it could put a drain on all their economy. Don't expand too fast, you'll just collapse the whole system, basically is what it is. And it was smart.
Yeah.
It was a smart plan. And everyone's like, no, you're just trying to keep us down. You're the man. It's like, well, if you want to go to the colony, you can do that, but no one's going to help you. Some people tried that. Didn't work out for them. Well, we don't know. We never heard from them again.
So they might actually be very happy.
Yeah, they might be fine, right?
They just don't want anyone else to know.
Yeah, like, that could be it.
Yeah.
No, probably not it.
They found the infinite code to the lottery box of the universe, and they don't want you to know.
Yeah, they don't want to. Yeah, whatever. They're not telling you. But then came some drawbacks. MES, metadimensional extroversion syndrome. What this is 1 in every 10,000 or so children who traveled in metadimensional space, once they hit puberty, started exhibiting psionic powers. It could be anywhere from spontaneous mind reading, telekinesis. Some even could teleport vast distances, like from one star to another type distances. It's crazy. They have their own spike drive. Just they are that. All right. Now, this isn't the superpower you think it is, because to use psionic energy, the psionic has to channel metadimensional energy through their brain, and your brain wasn't meant to do that. So it wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when your brain was going to fry. So you either die or you go irreversibly insane. It was a toss-up. The only way to not have that happen is to not use your powers, ever. Because you don't know, the very next time you could die. The very next time. Now, by the time 2275 came along, they got a workaround for that. Well, Heathen Dog, how'd they get the workaround if no one was doing it? Well, no, there was some shady government crap going on, taking children, saying, oh, we lost these kids, and then just making them use their powers over and over again until they went insane or died, and studying them. They found a way to work around it. You could actually never stop the damage from happening, but you can teach the psionic to direct the damage to the least important parts of their brain.
Ooh, that still sounds bad.
Yeah, like, oh no, I don't remember my childhood anymore. But you're not insane, so good on you.
That's
right?
better.
Yeah, it's better. It's better. It's not great, but it's better. Now, with psionics now being able to be sustained, they create the Terran, the humans, the Earth created the Psionic Authority. It's kind of like Babylon 5 Psychor, only a little less insidious. So slightly less insidious. When a kid was tested as a psionic or displayed psionic powers, the Psionic Authority took them in, trained them to use their ability, and then lent them out to government agencies or corporations or jobs, whatever, for the betterment of all mankind. Right? So awesome. That sounds great so far.
It does sound good.
Yeah. And then also during this time, there was first contact with a legitimate intelligent alien species. It was great. The first ones we found were what they called young races. These were races that were way lower on the tech tree than we were, like Bronze Age.
Haha,
type
teach
stuff.
him a lesson.
Well, no.
Rule them
I mean,
like kings.
No, we didn't do that. We're like, oh,
Oh,
cool, okay, we're not gonna mess them so much. I mean, we didn't have like a prime directive or anything, but it'd be like a D-bag move to go in there and say, oh, this is my boomstick, or some bull crap like that. So we didn't do that.
which makes
And
me
then
think humanity would instantly start doing that.
yeah, probably right.
But either
Someone
way,
would, yeah, bad apple and all that. But and then there was the elder races. These are races that have been around for 10,000, 40,000, some even 100,000 years, but their civilization is now declined. Through sickness or natural disaster or just
social
the
decay.
yeah, social decay, stuff like that. Now with these guys, there were some skirmishes, but they had higher tech, but they had lower resources. So we usually came out on top on these skirmishes, and we were able to force settlements, and treaties were formed, and trade, you know, was done, stuff like that. And then we found what's called the others. The others are non-carbon based life. Life that lives at the center of a gas giant, or crystalline, or ammonia based, or whatever.
Intelligent
Now,
shades of the color blue.
yeah, whatever. I mean, they're too alien to have any kind of meaningful contact with. All the psychics that have tried to have mental contact all went insane because they're just bashed with images that are not understandable, very Cthulhu-esque. Just if your mind was not meant to know these things, and it just breaks. So we just stopped trying. We're like, okay, you guys are do you, we'll do us. We don't want the same things anyway. Gold to us is like garbage to you. So whatever. They don't want anything from us. We don't want anything from them. And so that's it. Fine.
Just try and stay separate.
Exactly. And for the most part, it works out great.
Probably we're freaking
Yeah.
them out too. Like, oh my god, they're all fleshy with hard things in the
Whoa,
middle.
what is this?
They're so weird.
Ugly bags of mostly water.
Why do they need those metal things to go through space? That's creepy.
It's creepy. I could just fly. It's just they're stupid. All right. And then after that came the invention of pre-tech, sci-tech, and jump gates. Now, pre-tech is technology created using psionics to get around pesky things like the laws of physics.
Those are inconvenient.
Little inconvenient. I mean, they don't like completely break the laws of physics, more like the Matrix, like bend them. Like really hard, but bend them. But this allowed to be created jump drives that were twice as efficient, medicines that adapted to viruses and bacteria once it entered your body. So if the virus mutated, the vaccine mutated, or the medicine mutates to fight it. Clothing that would alter its shape depending on the user, stuff like that. Really cool stuff, right? Lifespans went to a couple hundred years before the brain finally died.
Oh, that's convenient.
Yeah, it was great. And on top of the pre-tech came sci-tech. Sci-tech is technology made with pre-tech techniques, but must be used coinciding with psionic ability. So only psionics could use them. Now, this led to the creation of jump gates. Jump gates, the best explanation for a jump gate is if you've seen Stargate SG-1, the latter seasons, with the Ori Supergate, a giant wormhole device in space that fleets can travel through. That's what jump gates were. Jump gates were invented and then set up in each of the core human worlds, to where now you don't need a spike drive to go to these planets. You don't have to spend all that time, months or years, traveling. You can just take a regular freighter, put it through a jump gate. It'll just appear on the other side of a connected gate, and then Bob's your uncle. Trade became much faster. News and commerce moved much faster, and it made humanity prosper. Now, but the important thing is, you needed several psychics to activate a jump gate. It is sci-tech technology. It must have psionics to work. They have to operate it. All right, so this ushered in the golden age of humanity. A second wave of expansion went out. Using jump gates, humans could expand again because the central government could handle it. Commerce was booming, trade was booming, everything was plenty. We can now afford to expand again. And humans did. By 2600, humans expanded to 10 spike years from Earth. Now, I did the math on that. With the advanced jump drive that were twice as fast because of sci-tech, they could expand to 5,000 light years in every direction of Earth. 5,000 light years. That's a large chunk of the galaxy. And humanity was spreading all that time. It was great. But worlds began to specialize because of the jump cake technology. There was a world that's just grows food. It's an agriculture planet. Its whole business model is shipping food out to other planets that can't or don't grow food, and then they get in trade things that they want, tech or resources, whatever that they need that they don't have or can't make.
Well, it makes sense.
Yeah, perfect
Specialization
sense.
would be the natural evolution.
Exactly.
Sherry
And
says it
that
sounds
worked
like
out.
a Warhammer 40k universe. Yeah, in a lot of ways it does.
Could be, yeah. Now, the mandate begins to lose power. The Terran mandate begins to lose power because humanity's just being too big to govern. It's like the end of Rome right now, where Rome split into an Eastern Rome and Western Rome because it was too big for one central government. It's getting to be like that. The outer rim worlds are kind of itching against this mandate thing and control of the central government of Earth. It's like, why? I mean, you're like 5,000 light years that way. What? What are you going to do? Nothing.
Even spy travel takes 10 years to reach you. I don't even care.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, And the farthest rim worlds don't have jump gates yet because they take a while to construct. And you have to know that the colony is going to be viable before you go to the expense of making a jump gate. So
Absolutely.
that's really the only place where spike ships are right now, spike drive ships. So this went on for a while, and then the scream. Now, humanity gets headshot at this point. In 2665, metadimensional energy blew through Earth space.
Oh, no.
It took 13 minutes to go from one end of Earth space to the other. That's 10,000 light years, 13 minutes. And what did it do? Well, here's the things it did. It was a metadimensional typhoon. All right. So anything that was in metadimensional space at the time, like a working spike drive ship, blew up, just died. All psionic individuals instantly died or went bat crap crazy. Their brain just burned out from the overload. And of course, that means jump gates and all of the sci-tech doesn't work.
Useless.
Because you need psionics to run them, and they all died. 100% of them died. All of them. And they found out that it came from some place called the Veil Nebula, but it didn't matter. I mean, you couldn't actually send, there was no response to this.
Yeah, there's no way to get there anyway now.
Well, yeah, you could get there in a spike ship, but in the core worlds, they didn't have spike ships anymore. They used jump gates. Only in the rim worlds did they have spike ships because they didn't have jump gates yet.
Yeah, with the idea if you go there, they could just blow up your spy ship again.
Exactly, right? I mean, the people were afraid to enter metadimensional space because it could happen again. And then they just blow up. Why would you do that? But, after that came the silence. Now, this is when contact between all the human worlds was all but nothing. All right? Now these worlds start to die off. Before, specialization of a planet was smart. Now, it's dumb. Because you're going to die off. You don't have a vital thing. Like the agricultural planet, it's great. But maybe this planet doesn't have fossil fuels or has no radiological elements to power a fusion reactor. They're going to run out of power. Their technology is no longer going to function. No electricity. Or not enough electricity. Yeah, sure, you can make like air power or solar power or whatever, but it's not going to fuel you at the level that you're used to. And your population is going to suffer drought, famine, disease, not drought, but famine, disease, overpopulation, unable to feed everyone, especially on a lot of worlds that did not specialize in farming. Say they specialized in technology or specialized in resource gathering.
Yeah, your giant metal world might be high tech, but you got no food.
Yeah, you can't grow crops on Coruscant, buddy.
Yep.
And then they all die. So yeah, It was bad. It was a giant die off. Planets everywhere were dying off within months, and the only ships, the only FTL ships left were in the Rim worlds. Now the Rim worlds fared better because most of them were not specialized yet, so they had to be more self-sufficient. A lot of them became, they didn't fall into the traps of the core worlds. They were able to hang on, keep themselves, prop themselves up and do their thing. And they had the FTL ships, so they could make jumps to nearby, at least, planets for things that they desperately need to get back on their feet. And it could happen. I mean, it wouldn't help a core world because jump ships are small. They don't have the cargo space to feed a planet that can't feed itself. Plus, Earth space gotten so big, it would take years for a jump ship to travel from an agricultural world to a tech world, maybe. And they'll all be dead by the time they get there. So they pretty much stay on the frontier and deal with frontier problems because those are the planets that are most viable.
They don't have the time to deal with the core world problems anyway.
Yeah, it's too far away.
Yeah.
They couldn't help them.
It's not their they have their own problems anyway.
Exactly. We're trying to keep me alive. I can't keep me and you alive, especially when you is 10 million times bigger than me. Yep. I can barely handle this. So then it moves on to rebuilding. Okay, this is the new normal. The 600 years later, 600 years of the silence. Humanity is coming back, slowly but surely. Some worlds didn't make it at all. Everyone died. They're ghost planets now. Some worlds lost all their technology and they went back into not Stone Age, but at the very most industrial age technology. And some lost all their history. They think they're the only people in the universe, and they've forgotten that they come from another planet. They thought they were born there. 600 years is a long time, especially through great famine, disease, whatever. You get down to a small bit of population, and oral history changes, and there you go.
It's just the world before.
Exactly. The before time.
That's right.
The dark. But on a few worlds, psionics are making a comeback. Remember, all the psionics died, but children that travel in metadimensional space have a 1 in 10,000 chance of becoming psionic. So psionics started to make a comeback because children were still being ferried every once in a while in metadimensional space. Now, the sci-tech is lost. The way to create sci-tech or even pre-tech is lost. But they've gotten to the point now where they've found the technique to shift the damage into not as important parts of the brain. So psionics is now viable as a skill again. Okay, they've gotten up to that. But and that's exactly where the game starts. You have to decide what class you are, what character do you or do you not have psionics, stuff like that. And that's it. That is the backstory of Stars Without Number. Now, next time, since we've gotten up to the introduction, we're good. We're going to go through the rules and system of play, what dice you use, how you use them, example combat or skill usage, and creating a world. Because this is a space game. You don't have to leave your colony, but it's a space game with FTL in it, so you probably are going to leave your colony, and it gives a really, really cool, I don't want to say flow chart, but blueprint on how to make a world from scratch. Make your own world. What's in it, what's on it, what was there, what is there. Yeah, it's cool. So we're going to go through that. And then in the last segment, we're going to go through character generation. Attributes which are rolled, not chosen. They're not allocated by points. You have to roll them, just like it's an OSR game. You choose your class, your foci, your equipment, put it all together. Bob's your uncle, and you got yourself a character. And that's it. Thank you all for listening. I really appreciate it. Remember, Stars Without Number will be my next segment. Will be coming back the week after this. That'll be the 5th of October. So tune in for that.
Absolutely. Thank you, Heathen Dog.
You are welcome.
So what did you think of this segment? What are your thoughts on Stars Without Number? If you have any suggestions for future RPG segments, please let us know. Be a Legionnaire. And actually, Sheriff wants to know, what do you think of it so far compared to other space RPGs?
Well, let's see. I can't really answer that. I can only answer that as per the backstory. So far, the backstory is strong. The only stronger backstory that I've read is what do you call it? The one I did. I had to do two. I do part 1 and part 2 just for the backstory. I'm blanking on the name right now. The transhumanity one.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of it either.
I can't remember the name either. But yeah, that one had a much
Numeria.
No, not Numenera. Not Numenera. Nope.
Because I was thinking Numenera. I didn't think
that was the one I did last time. This is before that. But it had such a rich backstory that I had to have 2 segments just to do the backstory. It was crazy.
Masters of Orion. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. It's kind of like that.
That is kind of like Masters of Orion. You're right.
Yeah, more Hawkman with a big brain.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a setting where you could find ancient sci-tech. All right. Thank you, everyone, for extra discussion. Remember, if you want more Heathen Dog, you can find him on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share to more Heathen Dog. You can find more Heathen Dog segments, his Anime of the String segments, his Tabletop Gaming Fundamental segments, and his team-ups and select video game streams. And also, you can join for anime, comic review games, member-only chat and giveaways, and monthly Q&A with Legion Myth members. And it counts towards our Patreon giveaway goals when we do our giveaways live on Twitch. And you should be there for that, because it is fun. You can interact with all these fine folks. So thank you again. Be a Legionnaire.